Just three ordinary people from the hills of eastern Kentucky. We don't have all the answers, but we do have all the questions. This is the Just Add Bourbon podcast with Jimmy Don, JD, and Don. Welcome, everybody, to the Just Add Bourbon podcast. I'm Jimmy Don Kerr.
I'm Dawn Giesica.
And our boy JD is out, and Don and I are just going to start making things up right now. That LJD. I'm saying that he has COVID. Don, what did you say he had?
I think that he has explosive diarrhea.
Explosive diarrhea.
Yeah.
Definitely the trot. So we were kind of talking with JD before we came on. Hey, Chip Gettler, what are you doing, buddy? This is a guy that I know from the comic book community, the White Shadow, Mr. Chip Gettler. Thanks for coming on, Mr. Chip.
I like it.
Yeah, but JD has Rona and the shits is what we were saying on our text message, and I told them that it reminded me of Benny and the Jets. Rona and the shits.
Yeah.
Rona. Yeah.
Oh,
so
Lord, you don't want me singing, Jimmy Don, so I'll just let you run with that.
Yeah, me neither. But it is another beautiful Sunday evening here in the hills of eastern Kentucky, and Don and I will try to push us through this show, and we will take our opportunity with JD not on here to bash everything Joe Biden. So, but no, Don, how was your weekend?
Oh, it was good. It was really good. So we went to the let me tell you about my week. So my girl was on Good Morning America. I think I told you guys. Yeah, so Rachel was on Good Morning America on Tuesday with her modeling. That was exciting. And then this weekend, we were waiting on the Tennessee-Georgia game. You know, Todd's from Georgia. He's an ATL boy. We could not wait to watch the dogs eat. And that's exactly what they did.
They sure did.
Yeah, they ate. As far as Neyland, I kind of give Tennessee a hard time sometimes, because you never know what you're going to get, Jimmy Don. You don't know if it's going to be a okay, fun environment, or if you're going to have to talk to security and potentially get thrown in jail. It could be either one. But the security was good. All of the stand people, the stadium workers were good. Everybody was fine. We did have one drunk Tennessee fan get in Max's face, but typically that's how it happens. Men who are drunk and grown, they tend to pick on the weaker prey. And Max is a 17-year-old boy. So I was too far away to help him. And then the guy went away pretty fast, but he got into his face. So we had that happen. That guy sat a few rows behind us, and he, still drunk, he went up there and just started, talking smack. Well, now Georgia's Georgia, right? So there's some Southern rednecks coming up to Knoxville, so they don't care either. Well, this guy got into it with a female Georgia fan. Well, little did he know the lady's husband was around. He was just in the beer line, which was a floor down from us. So when he came back, then, wife tells husband what's going on, and then poof, there we go. We got our first fight. So we had one fight. We had Max get, a little accosted, but other than that, we watched the Bulldogs be the Bulldogs, and it was a great evening to spend with the family, and hopefully we didn't catch anything, and it was fun. How about you?
Cool. No, I really didn't do anything. My week is really pretty boring. I just kind of work and hang out with Amy and the kids, and then, my allergies have really kicked in this week, do not feel great. And then I got my second COVID shot on Friday.
Right.
So I am now officially fully vaccinated. And, excuse me, I was a little concerned, what that was going to do to me, because some of my friends have had, gotten really sick after the second shot.
Right.
And it's been weird. Like, I didn't really feel any sicker. Had a little low-grade fever. But I kind of just laid around and watched football. I used it as an excuse to not do anything at all and lay around and watch football. And watched the Cats beat Vandy. And then Friday night watched our basketball team bounce back from the loss with Duke. And roll Robert Morris. And so I enjoyed my weekend. But I will tell you, it was weird. Like, when I got COVID, like, the only thing, because I got, it was just like having a bad cold for me, except for one thing. And, like, my skin got really sensitive to the touch. Like, it almost burned in a sense. And I have that a little bit right now. Where my skin is burning just a little bit, not nowhere near as bad as it was, when I actually had COVID.
Yeah,
but
I've
it's
heard
still, but it's still, kind of had that going on. So really, I just took the weekend, just kind of chilled out, didn't do a whole lot, and like I said, watched football.
Right. Yeah, no, that's some weird symptoms that COVID can bring on with different people.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about, Kentucky. Last night we won. Football team won, beat Vandy, crushed them in the first half, and then kind of let off the gas in the second half. Ended up cruising to the victory.
Right.
And for the first time in a long time, we hold second place in the East. Like we finished second in the East.
Right? Yay!
Yeah.
Who finishes behind us?
Tennessee.
That's right.
Yeah, so it can't be better than that, right?
Yeah,
and those dirty ball fans. Yeah. And then Kentucky basketball is rolling right now. We did play.
So you watched the game, right? I didn't watch the Robert Morris game, so tell me a little bit about it. How many minutes did Ty get?
Ty played a lot, but he played well.
Okay.
Everybody played well. Damian Collins, if he could kind of get to the competition level of like the Duke, like he couldn't play in that Duke game. Collins couldn't.
Right.
He had one of the nastiest dunks. I mean, he came down the middle and dunked on some guy's head. I mean, it was nasty. And so this team could be a lot of fun. We hit a ton of 3-pointers. And like even in the Duke game, like I told you through a text, I was like, I don't even really like get invested, like hardcore invested in basketball until March. Once the SEC tournament starts, then it's time. Because as long as Cal's been there, that's always been kind of the lead up. The season is the lead up to March. And I just enjoy watching the team grow, getting to know the players. And I didn't expect to beat Duke. But I think if he would have set Ty a little earlier and kept Grady in the game where he could have shot some threes, I think we had a chance to win.
Right. Yeah. Like I told you, I'm not really a moral victory Kentucky fan. I'm a diehard Kentucky fan. So when it comes to us playing Duke, I think we should go to win and not to just set up this young kid. And I'm pro Ty, don't get me wrong. But if you're not performing, sit down and let's bring the boys in and the boys who are performing, let's see if we can get the dub. I mean, we hung in there the whole time. It was number 8, number 9. There was no reason why we needed to lose by letting, some kids play who needed to sit when we had other people who could shoot. That bothers me. And it bothered me that I pulled up Twitter and then I saw tons of tweets saying, oh, well, we held in there. So that's what we do now in Kentucky. We celebrate holding in there. We were close. We almost got it. I'm not doing that. So if we're going to do that, then I'll have to get me a backup team. I'm a fan to watch my team win against the teams that they're paired up against fairly. This was an 8 and 9. This wasn't a weak Kentucky team going to a strong Duke. This was, we have our chance. Let's pair up and let's show them. So I think that we go back. No, I'm hoping that we just tear it up. You know how I am, but I'm still a little raw on the Duke thing.
No, I think Duke is probably the best team in the country right now. They have 2 pros. Was it Poncho? I think was his name. Is the truth. Like that kid can play. He's probably a top 3 draft pick. Duke probably had the 2 best players on the floor. It was really weird because that's what Kentucky's teams used to look like. Like when Cal first came, to Kentucky, that was like a Kentucky team. What you saw Duke have on the floor was a Kentucky team. And we have a Duke team, where we've got a bunch of these older guys that can shoot the 3. We've got Sheboy on the inside, who is a man-child. 20 boards in the first 2 games. It's like the first time that's ever happened in the history of Kentucky basketball. So I think it'll be fun. Like I hated to lose to Duke, but again, I just don't view the season that way because as Cal has been here, we've gone through the SEC and lost 5-6 games and then went to the Final Four. It's just the Cal's teams, for whatever reason, it takes him all year to coach them up and get them ready to play. And then almost always when the SEC tournament hits, it's like a light switch flips and they just start balling. And then we're going to make a run. Like, I really like this team. Like, I think we have a good enough team to actually make a run, for the title because we've got a bunch of really good shooters. We've got a guy that's going to get every single rebound, right, and we've got a really good point guard. So I'm interested to see how we do this year.
I'm interested because we don't have Kenny Payne again. And
Right.
I'm a Kenny Payne girl. That's my guy. So I'm still raw over that. However, we brought, oh my gosh, the Italian guy. I think he's Italian. What's his name, Jimmy Don? He
Oh,
went to
Antigua.
Illinois. I can never say his name.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Antigua.
we brought him back, and I love him. So I want to see what he does now. And I'm hoping that we just beat Tennessee every time we play them. That way, I can live freely in Knoxville and not be berated all the time. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Well, and Kentucky is way ahead on the NIL stuff. Like they're doing things with their players right now that nobody else in the country is doing. And Ty's got a Porsche deal, a Fazoli's deal, a Gatorade deal. I mean, like he's already hitting close to $1 million in sponsorship dollars. And like he played really well against Robert Morris. He's really smooth. He just had a bad game. I think he's going to end up being our star. And then we've got this kid who's the number one player in the country for next year that's coming to campus early.
Yeah.
And so if he's the number one player in the country.
We always do. We always have, top tier coming in. I just don't want another Brandon Boston 2.0.
Absolutely.
I do not want a commitment to these young kids to where we promise you X amount of time, even if we take the L.
Sure.
I don't like that. It needs to be about winning. All right.
So, Don, let's jump into, I guess, what we'll call the first topic of the week. And it was something that you had posted on our Facebook page, and it was something JD wanted to talk about last week. So, Hattie's not here, but it was funny when after the show, I was like, well, I actually noticed that because I went into the Walmart in Pikeville. Excuse me, that's where my office is. And I had to go in there and buy some paper and pick some things up for the office. Well, I went to check out. And there weren't really any, what I would call cashier checkout lanes. It was all automated checkout where you check out yourself. And I was like, and most people were using that automated checkout. And I didn't have a ton of stuff. So if I have a ton of stuff, I don't do that. I will stand in line and wait on the checkout lane. I didn't have a ton of stuff, so I went over, checked myself out, was in and out in, 20 minutes, whatever. But that's the first time around here, really seeing automation in, where you are basically taking probably half the workforce in Walmart, that are working, checking people out, doing those things and doing away with that. And now people are doing that themselves. What do you think about that?
It's brilliant, right? I mean, if you are over Walmart and you can get away and you can get by with getting rid of half your workforce, have people come in, buy things from you, and then check themselves out. Perfect. It's perfect for Walmart. It's bad for the customer, and it's bad for people. It's bad for workers. So I think what they did, though, how did they do that, Jimmy Don? Didn't Pikeville fix it to where you get paid now? Walmart has to pay you like pennies on the dollar if you are checking yourself out.
Yeah, you get it's almost like a discount, sort of. You get money back. Yeah, for that,
I agree with that too. I mean, I know it's nothing, but it's at least a stand, and I'm all about making a stand. If I'm going to come in here and I'm going to buy things from you, I should, and I'm not going to get checked out. I don't get any assistance because there's not hardly anybody in these stores now, right? It's everything's cameras and all that, so I can't ask, Joe where the bleach is or whatever, and then I've got to load it myself, take it, and check myself out. Then sure. I like the stand that Pikeville made to where at least we're going to draw a line in the sand and go, if we're going to do it all, we're going to make you pay a little bit. But I hate it for the people who don't have, it's not just a job. I know people are going to say it's low wage, but it's also benefits and things of that nature that these people are not being offered now.
Well, and it's a concern, I think for a lot of industries, everybody's going to automation, right? Because the job of these, board of directors or these shareholders is to make more money. And the biggest expense that most companies have, the biggest expense that I have as an employer is my payroll. Payroll, benefits, insurance is insane. I have to match some of the taxes that they pay. I have to match that as their employer. And, to go to something like this, in one sense, if you were going to, you're getting that back somewhat. Maybe they're giving you pennies on the dollar back, but they're saving a ton of money on the stuff that's already marked up. And it's concerning for the workforce down the road. I just don't know how we, replace. There's a lot of people that depend on those jobs because they make a decent wage,
Right.
At Walmart.
And a benefit package.
Yeah, and a benefit package. I mean, what are people going to do?
What are people going to do? And then we didn't even talk about what you bought. Remember, you bought things and you had to check yourself out, and everything you bought has been susceptible to the 6.2% inflation increase. So now you're paying more for things that you need. You're going and getting it yourself. You're bugging it through the store yourself, and then you're checking yourself out. I mean, boy, these people, they've got it going on, right?
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, from that standpoint, from a business standpoint, I mean, it's pretty brilliant. I said, and they're not going to really pass those savings on to the customer, right? They're adding that to their profit margin. That's how, because it gets harder and harder without raising prices to make more money. And at the end of the day, that's what's going to happen. And Josh is saying here, even before all the self-checkout lanes, we never had enough cashiers. We would at most have 2-3 lanes open on any given day.
Amen,
unless
Josh.
it was the first. Yeah.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's telling the truth on that, because we would stand there all the time and think you got 20 registers and 2 of them are open. So I don't know. These corporations, we're going to have to figure out a way of, helping the people more, but it's part of the capitalist society we have, right?
To me, it's just the next step to, things being completely online, because what do you do when you go online? You shop through, you check out, but at least it gets delivered to your house. You don't actually have to, pack it all up and then put it in your car and pack it in your house, right? It comes to your house.
Yeah. And it's not just Walmart. I mean, if you get sick right now, and I know in Knoxville, if you get sick and if you have a fever or such, you telemed into your doc. And it's the same. I don't know if anybody's opened their bills yet, but when you see your doc online versus in person, it's the same price. Now you tell me how I'm going to pay you the same amount by seeing you on Zoom as I would if you are in the room with me, able to touch and palpate and see me. It's crazy how these people are rigging the system to where they can, make as much as they possibly can with as little investment as they can.
Oh, no, absolutely. And, like I said, it gives me concern, for the future, because what are we going to replace those jobs with? What do you replace those jobs with? And it just continues on.
Maybe some really hot fairies.
Maybe, right. But no, I thought that was interesting, though, as far as walking in and you all put it in. I was like, you're right, because they had remodeled that whole store, like reset that entire store.
Yeah.
And they reset it because they had changed that front end area. And it was interesting. And there was a lot of people using it. I mean, I did. Like I said, now I will use it if I'm in a hurry, or if I have very few items, I'll run up and check myself out. It takes 10 seconds. It's better than standing in the line.
Yeah, I'm the same. I do the same.
Yeah. Let's see what we got here. Josh's, they have now, with the unemployment the way it is, setup isn't helping either. They can't get anyone to work, just like everyone else. In the next 5 years, Walmart will be a warehouse type of business. You just place an order online, go pick it up. And there's Amazon. Probably some truth to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Be like Amazon, because they want to compete with Amazon, and that's what they're whittling away. I totally agree. I actually read a couple articles on that. I totally agree. That's what they're going after.
Todd's on fire this evening. I went to the doctor to get my prostate checked, and they handed me a size 7 gloves and a jar of Vaseline. And then the other one up here, which was funny too, I went to get my oil changed and paints before Friday. They handed me a pipe wrench and 5 quarts of Pennzoil. Yeah, are we getting there? Yeah, it's crazy. And so, and let's talk a little bit. You mentioned it, so let's talk a little bit about inflation. And I texted you guys the other day, and I go every single week to the dollar store and pick up cleaning supplies for the lady that cleans the house here, for Amy and I. And I get the same exact thing every single week, like, never fails. I buy the exact same thing. Right. And so much so that I know exactly what I spend, okay? And that's $82.90. That's exactly what I spend every time I go. Like, I'll even walk in if I got cash, and I can pay with the exact change.
Right.
I went this week and checked out. It was $124.
Oh,
Yeah, and I was like, holy crap! And I bought nothing different. Bought the exact same thing that I always buy, and that's what 20. That's almost $38, $39
oh,
higher.
I don't know how people are doing it right now,
It's
in all
crazy.
honesty. And then, people can bring the argument to me and say, well, wages are increasing, wages are going up, so it's fine. If your wages are going up and everything else is inflating at the same time, then it negates everything. The only time that you can actually say wages are going up is when you actually get to bring some of those wages home and keep it and invest it or buy something that you don't need. But when you're having to take all of your extra pay to buy necessities, we're in a hurt. And Biden actually spoke about it because, I had complained. And I'm like, where is President Biden? Why is he not even mentioning inflation? Well, he did get on a press conference this week and talked about inflation. And he basically told us, that it's just going to be this way for a while and to kind of just suck it up and it should get better. That's where our leadership's coming from right now. So just take it. Take one for the team, guys. Just take it. Just enjoy those high prices because eventually it'll get better. That's literally what he said.
Well, and the thing that's concerning, and to your point, is you're right. Yeah, there are some wages that have gone up, right? But let's just say that your wages go up on average $200 a month. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good, right? That's $200 more that you have than you had before. But then everything that you have to buy with that money goes up $250.
Right.
What just happened?
Right.
You are making less money.
That's
and
right.
For the people in the middle class who aren't seeing these pay increases like they are in some of these retail jobs and some of these day-to-day fast food jobs, things like that, guess what? You've just got less money. You didn't even get an increase of any kind. You've just got less money.
Yeah. You're actually going backwards.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going backwards on everything. It cost me $83 and like 50 some odd cents to put a tank of gas in my vehicle. I almost fell out. And I mean, I have to buy it, so there's no complaining. I just have to get what I have to get to be able to travel from Kentucky, Tennessee, so forth, take Brooklyn to school. But my gosh, Jimmy Don, how are they doing it? In all honesty, how are people doing it? Because I remember when I was single with just me and the girls, I was watching everything that I was spending because, I didn't know what way it was going to turn. But I don't have any clue how you would do it if you wasn't making a good salary.
No, absolutely. It's really concerning. I mean, and that was the first time, I guess, like for me, that I really noticed it. Okay. And it just stood out to me because I know exactly what I spend every time I go. And so it just really stood out to me. And I was just sitting there thinking, how really legit, how are people going to make it? Mm-hmm. How are people going to get by? Like, we deal with the water district here, right? So, and one of the big things is about affordability. And at the end of the day, it just costs what it costs to run. Well, guess what? If all these things continue to rise, guess what we have to do as a water district? We have to raise prices to be able to pay our bills, right? Same thing with the electric companies. Same thing with your school system, for example. All these things that your school system buys are now more expensive. Well, now they have less money, but they have a budget they have to operate by. So guess what happens? They raise taxes. Right. So this is, like I said, I've told JD this many times, I'll give Biden a little time, right? Because some of this is directly related to COVID, right? With things being shut down, but you got mandates right now. You got truck drivers, you got, that aren't working. You've got boats that are just sitting out in the middle of the water, that aren't dropping things off because you don't have people to unload them. You've got all these problems. And at some point, I'm for small government, but at some point our government does have to step in and say, hey, our people can't make it like this. We've got to do something. And we can mandate a vaccine, but we can't mandate something else. It's just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. There are definitely issues.
It doesn't make sense. But, when the government keeps pumping money into the people, and then people go out and they spend and everything goes crazy, right? They have got, we did a COVID-19 plan that they passed early in the year. Remember that? Then they just passed a $1 trillion, I think it was like that, infrastructure plan. Now they're looking at a social climate plan, and now they're looking at separate. All these are separate, by the way. And then now they're looking also at the Build Back Better plan. I don't know what it's going to look like because nobody knows what's in these packages, but I can guarantee our inflation, you might as well get used to paying extra for your milk and your gas and your cigarettes and your bread. But as long as we keep taking stuff from the government, things are going to keep going up. That's just how it is.
No, and the deeper and deeper in debt we get, the more money they have to pay. And that's the biggest thing. Like, the Democrats are having trouble getting this social bill put through because Schumer basically, set it back saying we don't have the stuff back yet. We don't know how much it costs. Like, we don't even really know how much it's going to cost.
Isn't it crazy, Jimmy Don, that American citizens, we let them buy with that stuff? I mean, we actually just accept it. I don't know what's going on. I would never, oh my gosh, in my job, if I ever said okay to my CEO and said, okay, this is the plan that I have for my department, but you can't see what's in it, and neither can my workers, I would have gotten fired in a second.
Yes.
I don't know why we let these politicians buy with it. We need to know what's in these plans, specifically in these plans. We will never know.
Oh, no, we will never know.
We will never know until they're done. Completely.
Yeah. No, and it's crazy. I mean, I think about it all the time. If you could not run a business the way that our country runs our government, the way our politicians run our government. And this is Democrat and Republican.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, like this is equal, to both.
Absolutely.
You cannot, like, at some point, somebody's got to say, okay, we got to be physically responsible, and we cannot spend more than we bring in taxes.
Yeah.
And you can't tax your people to death. I mean, it's just we're struggling now, and that's what this other stuff is. It's just it's another tax, and then your government's gonna come back and tax you because they don't have enough money.
That's right. I mean, it's super easy to run a business if you don't have to worry about spending your business's money. You can spend. If I was running Walmart and I could use Target's budget, then hell, I'd be doing everything I could. But these people are not spending their money, and every time you turn around, they're giving themselves better health care plan packages. They're giving themselves raises. I mean, we had AOC. Remember when she first won? She complained about her salary. She literally, we've got people out here working things that we actually need that make way less than AOC, but she was complaining about her salary. We have set up some type of system in this society to where these politicians think they're all gods. And we take it. We take it. We literally have to pick. Come election time, we have to pick between the lesser evil. That's insane.
Oh, absolutely. And what I would hope is at some point, I don't know that people understand it or they don't realize it, or maybe I'm just a conspiracy theorist. I don't know. But at the end of the day, we the people have the power.
That's right.
If we the people would quit. That's the reason they divide us, is so that we the people don't have the power. If we the people would come together and say, look, enough, and just vote all these idiots out of office, say, hey, we're starting over, we could do that. Like, we could get these people beat. It's their system, and it's designed to keep them in office for extended periods of time, and they keep us divided so that they can keep that system in place.
And they're in cahoots. Everybody's in cahoots. So you've got the politicians in cahoots with the media, and the media just spins. The media tells us that we need to hate our neighbors of another color or our neighbors of another religion or of another ideology. They just spin constantly. I mean, we watched it with Trump. Remember, we've watched it with several politicians, so don't think I'm just lifting Trump up. We also watch it with Obama too. But they spent forever building Trump up and talking about all of his successes, and then they tore him down because it's nothing but money, viewership and money. Let's lift something up and let's tear him. Same thing with Biden. It was less than a year ago, all we heard was that Biden was going to pull us together. He was going to bridge us together, and now we're tearing him down. That's the media. All we hear is bad. But now look, I don't need the media to tell me that I'm paying more than what I was a year ago, 2, 3, 4 years ago on everything. But my point is, we have got this whole little different world that is running the show, and they're all in cahoots together.
Well, and let's kind of expand on that with the Durham report. It's came out, now this week that the Russia collusion thing was a big bunch of BS that was designed. It was just a big bunch of BS.
And Hillary Clinton was right in there, just like we all said. But, nobody would believe anything. And then now it's all out, but nobody's talking about it.
No, you won't hear about it on the mainstream media because they spent 4 years saying that was the gospel truth, that Trump was in collusion with Russia.
Yeah.
And, and they indicted a guy the other day, and I don't even think that's the apex indictment. I think that they're going to keep going up and up and up and up, and it's untelling where this thing will end up. But it was complete and utter nonsense.
Yeah, it was. But, you've got half of the country that is spoon-fed one thing, and you've got the other half that is spoon-fed another. But boy, when you start looking at these polls now, I have tore through some polls these last couple of days. You don't need more Republicans to win a Republican race, and you don't need more Democrats to put your Democrat candidate in. You already know how those people are going to vote. I'm going to vote Republican, you're going to vote Republican, and JD is going to vote Democrat. That's a lock, okay? What we need are the people who swing. And now that Biden is in there, we have got more of a shift from independents coming over to GOP side than we ever have. It's remarkable because it's the areas of the suburbans that threw Trump out last time and was so against him, coming right back in droves. So now we have to be careful because when it comes time for midterms, Jimmy Don, you and I both know tradition says that we're going to win because we have a Democrat president, so the Republicans take back, and it's ebb and flow, right? Back and forth. We have to be careful with that power. What I'm afraid is we've got two extreme sides bouncing off each other, and then we're all caught in the middle. So I just don't know how civil things, I don't think things are going to get more civil. I think they're going to get crazier these next few years. Leave it to your prices going up. People get pissed off when you have to pay more.
Absolutely.
We've already got these little things. And then we've got these trials that I know you're going to bring up. We've got all these things going on that's just simmering constantly. And I'm interested in seeing how it's all going to pan out.
No, absolutely. And Todd, if you don't care, expand on that just a bit, what you're asking there, because I think I'm following you, but I'm interested to know exactly where you're going with that. No, and here's the other thing, too. We were talking about the division, and I know I'm jumping all over the place, but all these things just kind of coming to mind right now is like what happened in Virginia. They were pushing this critical race theory, and you're talking about doing that in elementary schools, right, with these young children. And here's the thing. Have you ever been around two small children? If they're black and white, they don't care. They don't care. Yeah. And all you're doing by trying to teach that is you're automatically going to put it in the white kid's head that there's a reason that they're different than us. And I think that it's generational. You have a lot of people that are racist and things like that, but generationally, I think it will end up playing itself out. But why? Why? It's because they want to split, and they want to split now, and they want to start young so they can keep this split between us all.
They want the new Civil War will be a race war. That's what they're wanting. They're literally, and I know that people will argue, and if JD was on here, he would say critical race theory is not being taught in schools. Well, then if it's not being taught in schools, why are we all arguing about it, and why do we see it being taught in schools? I mean, stop. And when it comes to, bring Knox's comment back up, or Todd's, I think what he is saying, you made the comment a minute ago about the Russian thing and the Steele dossier, all of that being just being a wash. I think what he is saying is the same outcome will happen with January 6th, because, they're acting like Trump brought these people in and told them to destroy everything. And now we're investigating it. We're spending all this time into it, just like they spent all that time into the Steele dossier. I think that's what he's comparing there.
That's where I thought he was going, and I agree. I think that at the end of the day, it'll end up all being BS. I mean, it's just amazing how, and this will lead us to our next topic. And I want to talk about Kyle Rittenhouse.
Okay.
And his trials, going on right now there in Wisconsin, Kenosha, Wisconsin. He was this kid who came from another state, was, packing. He said he was there to, defend property, from rioters and looters and things like that. And he ended up, killing some people and injuring another guy. And this is something, and this may just be my ignorance, Don.
Okay.
But did you think that the people that he killed were black?
I don't know. I didn't even think about it.
Well, the thing is,
were they? Because I don't know.
No, they were white.
Okay.
So they were calling him a racist, right?
Uh-huh.
Immediately, like I've seen all these clips of them calling, Rittenhouse a racist because he was at a Black Lives Matter rally. They were rioting, doing their thing, and he ended up killing these people. So they immediately called him a racist. So that makes you think that he killed some black folks.
Right.
He didn't. He actually killed. They were white people, and I'd like a show of hands in the chat. Did you think that he killed some black people, or did you know that it was white people from the beginning? Because I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I actually thought that he killed some, Black Lives Matter protesters.
Yeah, I didn't know, but just skimming over what I know in my head about this trial, I would have assumed at least one or maybe two was black. But I also dug into all of the protests and things of that nature. It really wasn't. I know on TV it makes it look like it's all black people, but it's mainly white liberals that stir that up. That's the majority of people. I have tons of black friends, and they're like, that's crazy. I don't know what's going on. I mean, some of these white people are just acting crazy. And there you go. There you have it. He ended up killing 3 white people at a protest that was going on over race, right?
Yeah, and they were all felons of some kind.
Uh-huh.
One of them had Caitlin just put it up here. There were one that was pedophile. There was one, and they were apparently attacking him, like they were coming at him.
He was running away.
He was running
away, fell, got hit. That's why he fell. Got hit with what, a skateboard or something.
They say
like
a skateboard, yeah.
So I mean, if he's running away, he's clearly not there trying to kill people because he's running away from the problem, right? And then he falls. Well, when he falls, he's met with what? A handgun.
Mm-hmm. And the guy that lived was the guy who had the handgun.
Right.
And I heard some of the testimony, and I don't know. Like I said, this kid will probably end up getting charged with something. But I think at the end of the day, what people really thought was that this guy was a racist, a crazy guy that was out there and just started shooting people up. And if you watch the news, that's exactly what they made you believe.
Right. That's that media spin.
Right. And it turns out that it was white people, and I heard they were questioning the guy that actually lived. And the attorney said, when you had your hands up in the air, did he shoot you? And he said no. He said, when you pointed the gun at his head, did he shoot you? Yes. So he obviously felt threatened. And if you're gonna bring your firearm out, you better shoot it. Because if you're going to point a gun at somebody, and I know that's awful to say or kind of harsh to say, but if you're going to do it, if you're going to brandish a firearm, you better be ready to shoot the thing.
Right. Yeah. Don't bring a gun and not be prepared. And that's the same with him. I know the guy, they're going to argue he brought a gun up there looking for war. Well, then what's to say that the guy with the handgun wasn't looking for a war? The last time I checked, it is perfectly legal for you to have guns. Now, in Rittenhouse case, because of his age and because him being out of state, I believe his AR-15 was subjected to a misdemeanor charge.
Yes.
But only a misdemeanor charge. And that's it, right?
Yeah.
So, but the handgun guy and everybody else who has guns in America, we all have guns, but now they're trying to stir that up. So I don't know, but as far as Rittenhouse goes, if I sit on the jury, I think we all know what my verdict would be. I would already be at lunch and the kid would be home.
Yeah, and and I think you're right. I think and that judge, apparently the prosecution's case was just so weak and flimsy, and the judge must have lit this prosecutor up, and now the judge is being called racist.
Yeah, I think so, a judge who has served for decades,
who was elected,
very honorable, has never had any problems, but now they're really trying to spin it like he is going to be so biased that he can't make a good ruling on this. It's insane. But I saw where the judge berated the prosecution because the prosecution was trying to lead with the Fifth Amendment. And did you see that? And the judge went off because he's like, that's basic law. That's been basic law forever. You can't jump him for pleading the Fifth. I mean, it is what it is. You have that right. I don't know. I don't know when it comes to the Rittenhouse case, but I do know this. They've got 500, I think, National Guard on standby. So we're all those little powers of be have already told their minions to go out and be ready. If you don't get the ruling or the judgment that you want, let's start a riot. That's how it is. We got to keep everybody spun up. We got to keep them split up, and we got to keep them stirred, right?
Yep.
So they're already positioning themselves because I think doesn't the judgment come this week?
I believe so. Yeah, I think the judge is, or the jury is back in deliberation now, and it'll probably come out this week. And I know the judge is giving them the opportunity, to charge on some lesser charges as well. And I don't think that was the case in the beginning, but I think what was brought out in court was there was a ton of bias in the media to make you believe one thing. And then once it got into court and the facts were actually presented, it was a whole other thing. And then they're going to spin this. They already are, this is another case of, the whites taking care of the whites, and it's white privilege. And, they're already starting that. And that stuff wears me out. It really does. Like, I understand that the black community has issues that we don't know anything about. And I will never pretend to know what it is to be a black person in this country. Right. I know what it is to be a rural hillbilly. That's right. And it ain't easy. And, and I'm sure it's not easy to be a black American. So I'll never pretend to know what that's like. But to shout racism every single time something happens that doesn't go your way is just ridiculous. And another case where they're trying to divide us. Everybody should try being a woman. If you really want to see some inequality, then try being a girl, and then you'll have a good taste of it. And I'm not negating any minority, Hispanic, black, or whatever. But if we're going to talk it, I'm a minority too. I'm a woman. Women are in the minority too. So I think we're about half the world's population. When we figure out that we're half the world's population, things will change. But they keep us divided too. So. Man, you didn't have a chance, did you? You're a woman and you're an ignorant hillbilly. Well, I mean, like, you never shot. And everybody has certain perspective or perspectives. I mean, Lord have mercy, I can't grab my words today. But they think I'm automatically this or the other because I come from Eastern Kentucky, and East Tennessee doesn't help me either. It's all Appalachia, and then you throw in the girl card, and then they really think that you're not much of nothing. Knox, he's on fire tonight. He's sitting back there in the back, and he's on fire. I know that's what I say about myself, Knox. It's a good thing I'm hot. You could have said that about me. It's a good thing you're hot, Jimmy Don. I know. Oh, hey, Kevin. So, but no, I think it'll be interesting, and probably something that we'll end up talking about for the next couple of weeks is this Rittenhouse thing and the reaction. To what happens if the verdict doesn't come down the way that these folks want it to. I think it's going to be interesting to see. Right. And I just hope that, Kenosha, the people there can stay safe and it doesn't get torn apart. There's been plenty of that. So, all right. So last topic, and this is just something, we've got the holidays coming up here, Don. Thanksgiving's here in a few weeks. It kind of goes back to talking about inflation and the supply chain crisis and all these different things that we got. And I read this article that the Black Friday deals, like Black Friday is not going to be what Black Friday has been in the past, because, especially with electronics, that's where a lot of people will go in. There's these massive sales and savings on Black Friday with a lot of electronics. And that's the big things, right, that kids generally want are these electronics. Well, you're not going to get these deep discounts now. So that's going to make things less affordable at Christmas. And so, what do you think about that? Is that something that you kind of seen coming? I think, I think it's a shame. I really do. I really wish that things were better. We've got so many kids in this country that I really hope have a good Christmas, but I just don't know, if that's going to be the case, because you've got mom and dad who are having to spend more on diapers and food and milk and heating bills. Did you see the heating bill tax that they passed? I memean, we're being taxed now to heat our homes, all in the name of what? The climate, I guess, right? Yep. Mm-hmm. So I hate it for the kids. I'm not surprised, but it surely saddens me that we are where we are. I don't know how it's going to line itself out.
But I really think it's a good time for people to start talking to their kids. And let's get back. The way that we could push back on this is let's get back to what Christmas and the holidays are really about. And that's just about being with each other. Like Michelle and Sam are coming tomorrow. We're going to hang out for Friendsgiving. That, to me, is more of a treat than any gift that they could ever bring. And that's probably how we need to do it. Just everybody just talk to everybody and say, look, we're not doing gifts this year because Biden. JD would hate that comment right now.
Yeah, no, it's all Biden's fault. He's the president. Yeah. And then he would find a way to blame it on Trump. So it's, and the world will be good again.
Yeah, that's what they do, right? But
yeah.
Honestly, that's all I know when it comes to the holidays. Everybody just get back to the basics. Go get you some food. What you would spend on gifts and stuff. I don't know about you, Jimmy Dawn, but I get my kids what they want as we go through life. I mean, that's how it shifted. Now, when me and you were kids, it was a whole deal. Like I would wake up, and it still is with my kids too, but not anymore because they're getting older. But I would have just presents everywhere, right? But that was special at Christmas and at your birthday. But now it is not like that. You buy as you go. And I totally agree with Diana. American-made products are not sitting out in the sea on supply ships, cargo ships. You've got local artists. You've got local bakers. Put them all to work for your holidays. And let these big companies hurt. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I love that. I love what Diana said there, buy small local items or food. I love that. Yeah. I deal a lot with, the comic book community where I'm a nerd. And I like that stuff. But there's a lot of artists out there. That's actually, some of the things I'm looking into is doing some things for the girls from an art standpoint. Excuse me. Yeah. With some of these people that I've met. But I like the idea of kind of getting back to what it's about. Because I'm like you, like we didn't get a lot during the year. We would go school shopping and get clothes for the school year. And we went one time, and that's what you got for the year. And then at Christmas, it was kind of special. You would get some things that you get mostly what you needed. If you needed clothes or things like that, that's when you got the second round of clothes. Right. And then you would get a couple of things that you wanted. Now my kids get crap every day. I mean, like it's just, whatever. And
I know.
We're stupid.
We're the same. We're stupid too. We are. I just love them so much. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, I want to get you everything you want. But at the same time, I yell at my kids. I just yelled at Reagan yesterday for not managing her time because I wanted to get to Neeland at a certain time. I'm with Kessa, though. Hurt these people in their wallets. Everybody, which now hurt them completely and shop local. And I was going to say, get with your family. But if we say get with your family, then they get mad about that too because we have this pandemic going on, right?
Yeah, we're not allowed to hang out with anybody.
We have got to shove the government's big ass out of our lives. Shop local, take care of American-made products, American artists, American singers. We hired a local guy one time to come and sing at a party, and now he's on tour with Jason Aldean. It just build these people up, these local people up. Let these Chinese companies have it. Let them have it.
I agree 100%.
Get with your family. Try to be safe. Try not to catch COVID, and have at it because this inflation is going to make it tight on everybody.
No, 100%. And I've done the same thing. I think what you said is right. I've been talking to the kids about it, as far as, hey, look, this is the reality. And they don't live in reality. My kids are socialists too, Todd. My children don't live in reality when it comes to what life's really like. They're starting to learn. They're getting that age where I'm parenting a bit different. But I think, breaking it down to what Christmas really is, and it's just about being together, and for a lot of people, as your mom was saying, it's about the birth of Jesus. A lot of people celebrate that as the birth of Jesus, and that's fine too. And
it's a Christian holiday, and that's really where we need to be. The three kings had these three things that they brought to the baby, but now we've turned up. I mean, I'm telling you what, Jimmy Dawn, we were in we were around $1,500 a kid, and we have 4 just for Christmas.
Oh, listen, if I went $1,500 a kid, I'd be doing good.
And that was pushing back, yeah. So I mean, it's just, and I'm embarrassed to say that it's went too far. That's not me bragging by any means. That's me saying that I'm a complete moron, because all those things, all those items that we bought them are off to the side. And then I'm with you. I'm trying. Well, there's no trying. My kids now are 19 and 18, and my baby's 12, and then I've got a 17-year-old. Those ones that are in their high teens are hearing it every day. I'm like, you're not going to be on the tip forever. So you need to figure it out. We've got one that's in college at Florida, UNF. And we're like, look, you might have to get student loans. You made your bed. You chose that school. We warned you. You went out of state. You made your bed. This might be how you have to pay for it, right? Because we have 4. And then we have Reagan, who this morning was going to go to a cornhole tournament. And she's like, well, I'll just come get you. And I'm like, Reagan, your car is a V8. Gas is $4 a gallon. Why don't you just meet your friends there? You know what I mean? Or better yet, they're driving right by the house. You could just get inside with them.
Yeah.
Look for ways to save $1, because I don't want them to be so shell-shocked that when they get out of the house that they, collapse when they have to when they have to buy their own toilet paper. Remember how painful it was when you graduated high school and you started college? The poorest you've ever been.
Oh, right? Yes. God, I'm so broke.
Yeah, the poorest you've ever been. My kids are not there. And now kids go away to college, and we continuously fund it. My kids my kids are going to learn a lesson. My dad sent me off. I'll never forget. I mean, like, he made sure I didn't starve to death. But there were times, like there was one semester, like school was really, really easy for me as far as growing up. But there was one semester of college that I didn't do anything, right? I partied my guts out. And Dad cut me off. I had to pay my next semester. If I wanted to go back, I had to pay for it. Yeah. And then I had to get a job. And I'm no joke. Like, I was drinking an RC Cola there. I saw one of those today for like $0.25. And I was kind of reminiscing. Because I don't drink a ton of pop, but like I was like, ooh, an RC Cola. I lived on RC Cola. And it's a quarter. And it's a quarter.
It was a quarter.
The only thing we can afford right now.
Right. So it was RC Cola, and I would eat like bread and cheese sandwiches.
Yeah.
Or bread, mustard, and cheese. Like, and my mom's like, oh my God, are you kidding me? That's what you were doing? And but no, I mean I was also buying beer. Sorry, Betty Joe, but I was buying beer, during that time as well. But no, it was, that's the brokest I've ever been in my life. You talking about learning how to string $1 for as far as you can make it go. You will 100% learn that in college.
We used to carpool, me and Jessica Priest, one of my best friends from Kermit. We used to carpool to Cross Lanes, West Virginia to college, and we would split a McDonald's breakfast biscuit. I mean, we were dead broke. But see, my kids don't roll that way, and yours won't either. Because and it's not them. It's not that they are asking for it. It's I want to provide it for them. I don't know what kind of kids we're pumping out. Our generation of parenting is pumping out. We'll have to see that, I guess, 20 years from now. But I can tell you, I'm not patting myself in the back, but I really do think that I've tried to strike a good balance. I tell them, I'm like, look, this is what I can give. I can give a little more this year or whatever. But you need to understand that not everybody has this. So, you don't need to be like bragging, because there's nothing to brag about. Money comes and money goes. We might have it now, and then you might not have it 5 years from now. You never know what'll happen. So I try to strike a middle chord, but it's harder and harder when it comes to parenting these teens that have so much. I mean, think about it, Jimmy. We all got phones and
phones, iPads, computers, laptops, iMacs, all this. I said it's ridiculous.
And I think, and these girls watching, I think I was in my 30s before I had a real mani-pedi. Now manicures and pedicures are the norm for the younger girls. Like it's part of their routine. Well, hell, that's $50, $50 to $80 every time you go in, and it happens twice a month. All these expenses that we've drummed up, it's amazing.
Yeah, no, and I like what Caitlin's saying here. My kids are spoiled rotten, and now things have changed, and they're about to get hit with reality.
Yep.
And that's a fact. I think there's going to be a whole lot of kids that get smacked in the face with a big dose of reality. And And I'll be honest with you, I'm one of the lucky ones. Okay, like I'm one of the blessed ones. But my kids are about to get it because it affects everybody. And really, that's what I was saying the other day. Is like, I don't know how these people out there that are on fixed incomes and that don't have what I have. I don't know how they're going to afford to to live. And let alone have Christmas.
Yeah, I have no idea. And it's the middle that I worry the most about. Because they're the ones that are working 40 hours a week. They've got their house, they've got their car, their lives are going pretty good. But when inflation hits, then they get drugged down. And then the government will swoop in and try to help with all this and then make the middle pay for the help.
Yep.
That's how it always is.
That's how it works.
Just like we argued the last time, we said that Biden, the one thing that they cut out of that plan was saying that billionaires were not going to pay for it. Remember? They said billionaires are going to pay for all this. We're going to tax the rich. We're going to tax the elite. Well, guess what? The first thing was that they cut out taxing the elite. They're not going to pay for any of this. It is going to be Jimmy Don, me, and all of you watching. We're going to pay for everything that the government swoops in to help with. That's how it always is.
Well, we were at the campground a few weekends ago, and I had to sit down and have class with a bunch of Ashton's friends. They were talking about free education and free healthcare and free all this stuff, right? As kids, their age, are trying to figure this stuff out.
Yeah.
And I sat down and I said, look, guys, I love y'all. And I said, and I'm not telling you that I don't think free education would be good, that everybody could go to college, and it not cost anything because it's really expensive. I'm not telling you that I don't think healthcare being free would be great. I said, but ain't none of that stuff free. Somebody has to pay for it.
Right.
I said, and it comes from taxpayer dollars, and guess who pays the majority of the taxes in this country? Me and your parents. People like us who work hard every day and are paying taxes. That's who pays for all this stuff.
Right.
Ain't none of it free. I said, so take the free out of it. It's not free. Right. You're going to pay for it somehow.
And then they are going to pay for it, when they get their careers. Because, see, they have lived a life of seeing us be successful. They think that they should be able to have that same opportunity. You will not have that same opportunity if they socialize everything. Everything comes down to that's the whole point, is to make people more equal, right? Where right now you have an opportunity to make yourself a self-made millionaire, and you can do it easily in this country compared to other countries. But if you look at the other countries, they're more like this. That's how it is. So I don't know what these kids are thinking by cheering on all this free stuff. The more you cheer on all your free stuff, you are literally working against the American dream that you have lived.
Yeah, no, I think that's well said, Don. I really do. And I think that's a good place to end the show. Do you have any other topics that you want to jump on? Or do we cover everything tonight?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Fun show. It was nice to agree all night and not hear JD's idiocy as we go through this. I'm kidding, JD. We love you. I always enjoy JD's point of view.
Hope you feel better, JD.
I hope my boy gets to feeling better. I mean, with his Rona and the trots.
And the trots.
Yeah, Rona and the trots.
And we don't know what he has, by the way. We're just guessing.
No, I sent him the link. He could get on here and after Don and I make fun of him, that he could come on and defend himself.
Knox is making the show rated R. Move your butt.
But no, we thank you guys for coming and hanging out with Don and I this evening. We always enjoy coming and talking to you guys on our time slot every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, you know where you can find us. Social media, Don and JD are always posting stuff out there to prompt discussion amongst everybody out there in the community to debate ideas. That's the idea of the show. Also, podcast-wise, and I do want to apologize. Last week, the actual podcast did not get posted. I do that after we get done here. And apparently my StreamYard was full. The data was full, and I couldn't download I couldn't download the audio to do the podcast. So I apologize for those of you who listen on podcasts. I apologize. That was on me. I know now what to do to make sure that never occurs again, but I had no clue. But you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, wherever you can find podcasts, we are there.
And share and like. Get your friends to share and like.
Yeah, share and like. Tell everybody about the Just Add Bourbon podcast. We appreciate you. And as we always end our show, today from myself and Don and JD, who's a whiny baby and sick. No matter how bad your week's been, no matter how bad your day's going, if you just add bourbon, it always gets a little bit better. We'll see you guys next Sunday.
Love y'all.